A very good afternoon. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Mariam Ganujaya. Before we head into our stories in detail, here is a look at your headlines.
Two close associates of Uragaha Indika killed in shootout with the SDF. Army major dead in tragic motor accident. Budget debate continues in Parliament. Bay of Bengal depression moving towards Sri Lanka. Nancy Pelosi stands down as the leader of the House of Representatives. Twitter closes offices after Elon Musk's loyalty oath sparks wave of resignations.
On to your lead story this afternoon. Two criminals linked to motorcycle assassinations were killed in a shootout with the police special task force.
Crime Watch.
Two underworld criminal gangsters were killed in a shootout with the police special task force on Friday morning in Polvatta, Minuangoda. The police special task force said the two men were close associates of wanted criminal and drug trafficker Uragaha Indika. The SDF had launched an investigation to trace and arrest the motorcycle gunmen responsible for shooting dead a man on the 24th of August 2022 in Uragaha and also shooting dead a 4-year-old boy and his father on the 19th of October 2022 in Yakalamulla. Sri Lanka police said motorcycle gunmen opened fire using an S-84 gun and fled the scene. The man who was killed inside the cinnamon store was a suspect connected to shooting dead a man inside a bus in Alpitia in 2019. The fourth suspect in the case was shot dead on the 24th of August in Uragasmanhandia, Alpitia. Sri Lanka police said that the two men killed in the shootout on Friday were linked to the Alpitia murder as well. According to the SDF, a shootout took place when the SDF personnel were attempting to arrest the shooter and the motorcyclist. The suspects were seriously injured in the shootout, and the police special task force said they were dead upon admission to the hospital. One SDF officer was admitted to the Minuangoda hospital for treatment as he suffered minor injuries. The police special task force said the deceased suspects were residents of Poddala. A T-56 assault rifle, a 12-bore shotgun and a Rambo knife were discovered in the possession of the slain criminals. The Minuangoda police is conducting further investigations.
Crime Watch.
A Sri Lanka Army major and two others died in a tragic motor accident in Galgamur on Thursday night. Sri Lanka police said the car in which they were travelling veered off the road and crashed into a tree. The jeep, which was driving towards Galgamur town from Nochiagama, had run off the road near a bend, and according to our correspondent, the jeep had then overturned into a nearby garden.
දිනෙත් තමයි වාහනේ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ පස් දිනාගෙන් අපි බලනකොට තුවාලලා හිටිය කට්ටිය අපි ඒ වෙලාවෙම 19 යනුව ගෙනලා පිටත් කරලා යවුවා. පස්සේ ආරංචි වුණා ඒ වෙනකොට 3 දෙනෙක් මැරිලා කියලා.
The deceased were a Sri Lankan army major attached to the Saliyapura military camp and two of his relatives. Two others were injured and were admitted to the Anuradhapura teaching hospital. In the meantime, the Minister of Foreign Employment commented in Parliament on Friday on the matter of sending Sri Lankan females to Middle Eastern countries on tourist visas and forcing them to engage in various misdeeds.
If people are travelling overseas on tourist visas or attempting to immigrate through sea by boat, it does not concern the foreign employment sector. However, as a government, we have taken all possible measures to prevent this. We have managed to arrest several agents who are complicit in sending these women abroad to countries such as Dubai and Oman to force them to engage in misdeeds. We have partnered with the Ministry of Public Security to launch a comprehensive mission by appointing a special committee to arrest all parties within Sri Lanka and abroad who are involved in this.
දීර්ඝ මෙහෙයුමක් මේ වෙලාවේ ආරම්භ කරලා තියෙනවා.
නීත්‍යානුකූලව ඒජන්තවරුන් හැටියට
While regulating registered agents, it's important to hand down severe punishments to illegal agents as well. A lot of people have fallen prey to this scheme. Many young people in my area have been deceived as well. The foreign employment section of your ministry has a greater responsibility to look into this matter.
ඔබ අමාත්‍යංශය යටතේ තියෙන විදේශ රැකියා අංශයට තියෙනවා.
දැනට නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීම දැඩි ලෙස
The law is being strictly enforced. The Department of Immigration and Emigration, Foreign Employment Bureau and the Sri Lanka Police are working together on this. We are currently in the process of arresting those who aid people to evade the law as well as the perpetrators.
ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
Views were also expressed in the political sphere on the 2023 budget.
බැංකුව අධිපතිතුමා කියනවා දැන් මේ රටේ ආර්ථිකය ශක්තිමත් වෙමින් යනවා කියලා. මම දන්නේ මේ
The governor of the central bank says the economy of the country is getting stronger. I don't know how he says that. When you consider people who are engaging in small and medium scale enterprises, the interest rates have increased by more than 30% because of taxes. With the cess tax, even the price of school equipment will increase. A child is born in Sri Lanka with ₹1,000,000 debt. Inflation is 70%.
ඉතින් මෙන්න මේ වගේ වෙලාවක මේ රටේ කතාවක් තියෙනවා විසිල් විතරයි බල්ටි නැහැ කියලා. හැබැයි මම කියනවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිතුමා දාපු මේ අයවැය විසිලුත් නැහැ බල්ටිත් නැහැ. ඒක තමයි ඇත්ත කතාව.
මේ අයවැයෙන්
This budget was introduced as one that provides solutions to the issues faced by the masses of the country. Now that it is presented, it does not have any value. This is the budget prepared by the West. It has not addressed the issues faced by the farmers, labourers and fishermen. They have not spoken about the issues faced by estate workers as well as the issues faced by the people engaging in the construction sector. Neither has it addressed the various types of issues faced by the people of the country. All in all, this budget is an utter failure.
නොකරපු සම්පූර්ණ බංකොලොත් අයවැයක් තමයි.
The National Council's subcommittee for identifying short and medium-term programs related to economic stabilization says proposals for the reforms of laws related to the economic stabilization of the country will be presented to the country at the end of December.
විශේෂයෙන්ම රට බංකොලොත් භාවයට පත්වීම එක්ක ඒ පත්වීමට මූලික වෙච්ච හේතු
We held discussions on a number of matters, including the reasons that led to the country's economic bankruptcy, shortcomings in the law that led to the situation, and the amendments to the laws that need to be made to access local and international support in the future to overcome this present situation. The role of the central bank, the role and accountability of the Treasury, the role and accountability of the government, the accountability of government officials, politicians and the business community dealing with them were discussed as well. Also, proposals were presented on the need for a large-scale anti-corruption process and the importance of implementing the law on assets and liabilities. Officials of the Ministry of Justice said that 55 new laws and amendments to existing laws are currently underway. Therefore, proposals for the reform of laws relating to the economic stabilization of the country will be presented to the country at the end of December.
යෝජනා මේ විද්වත් සභාවේ තවත් අයගේ අදහස් උදහස් සැලකිල්ලට අරගෙන මේ දෙසැම්බර් මාසයේ අගදී රටට නිකුත් කරනවා.
A writ application filed seeking a ruling that State Minister Diana Gamage is unfit to become a member of the Sri Lankan Parliament and that she should be prevented from serving as an MP will be taken up for consideration on the 28th of November by the Court of Appeal.
The writ application was filed by civil activist Osanda Lakma Lanil Herath and it was called up in the presence of Justices Sobita Rajakaruna and Dhammika Ganepola. The bench ordered for notice to be sent to all the respondents including State Minister Diana Gamage. The court noted that it is appropriate to issue relevant orders and relief sought by the petitioners in the presence of all mentioned parties. State Minister Diana Gamage, Public Security Minister, Controller General of Immigration and Emigration, the Chairman of the National Elections Commission, among 15 others were named as respondents in the case.
Now today is day 4 of the second reading of the 2023 budget.
UNP MP Wajira Abeyewardena told Parliament that due to the recent crisis, parliamentarians were compelled to leave aside their larger vehicles and opt to using much smaller vehicles. He called on MPs to work together to overcome the crisis irrespective of political affiliations. However, he said neither the finance ministry nor the central bank has a right to state that the country is bankrupt. He added that by the 8th of April, the government at the time had already settled $3 billion of the total debt service of $6 billion for the year, adding the method of payment is not relevant. He said the individuals who violated the constitution by meddling with Chinese debt that directly affected the people must be exposed.
A lone wild elephant has been terrorizing the people of several villages in Mihintale.
This footage was recorded by a villager in Mihintale, and it clearly shows a lone wild elephant approaching the village at around midnight on Thursday the 17th. Locals say that this wild elephant has been entering the village almost daily for over a month. The people of Mudeva, Karadikulam, Potana, Vellankulama and Kumarasirigama, located close to the Mihintale sacred grounds, are spending their days in fear of being attacked by this lone wild elephant. Many cultivations in these villages have also been destroyed by this lone wild elephant.
Railway operations along coastal lines between Vellavatta and Colombo has been limited to a single track. The railway operations were limited to a single track due to a damaged bridge along the railway line between Kolpiti and Slave Island. The railway department says the renovation of the bridge has commenced and will be completed by next Monday to resume operations. In other developments, India is stepping up exports of engineering and goods and services alongside investments in key infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka. Indian media reported that India is stepping up exports of engineering goods and services alongside investments in key infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka as part of a large exercise to strengthen its strategic presence in the southern neighbour and counter growing Chinese influence. Infrastructure consultancy and engineering firm RITES Limited, which is the Indian Railways rolling stock export arm, is increasing its presence in key infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka. It has already supplied rolling stock and undertaken a few consultancy assignments. Chairman and MD Rahul Mithal said Sri Lanka is keen for Indian investment and participation in key infrastructure projects and that RITES is well placed to make use of the opportunities flowing out from the country. He said that RITES is looking at expanding its presence in Sri Lanka through a mix of rolling stock exports and consultancy assignments. Since 2017, RITES has landed 4 big orders from Sri Lanka, but most of the orders were for railways. It is now expanding into other areas such as consultancy on highways, airports and ports. The Met Department informs the fishing and marine community to refrain from sailing in the southeastern Bay of Bengal from Friday the 18th to next Monday the 21st of November. It also urges the people currently in those respective sea areas to return to land or to a safer place immediately. The Met Department says the low-pressure area in the southeast Bay of Bengal and the adjoining North Andaman Sea is very likely to intensify into a depression by 19th November. It also noted that it is very likely to move west-northwestwards and move closer to the northern coast of the country. Further, it is expected the wind speed in the northern and eastern sea areas to increase up to 60 km per hour. From Kankasantharai through Mullatif to Trincomalee, sea waves can rise up to 2 to 3 meters in the coastal areas. The Met Department further noted that due to this, the sea waves may reach the land. Sri Lanka police raided a gambling den operated by a ruling party member of the Madagama Pradesh Sabha, and 8 suspects were arrested. Sri Lanka police said that the suspected local government member was operating the gamble den in a car park owned by him. The arrested people, aged between 26 and 45, were residents of Madagama, Munaragala and Buttala. The suspects are expected to be produced to the Bibila magistrate on Friday. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of Sri Lankans who lack access to clean drinking water, and a community development project spearheaded by Gammatha brought relief to a school in Nuwara.
The primary and secondary divisions of the Nuwara Silver Candy Tamil Vidyalam are located some 2 kilometers away from each other in the Valapane educational zone. The primary section lacks access to clean drinking water and this has put the lives of children at risk. The Airline Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka joined hands with Gammatha to bring an end to their woes. Starting today, these children will no longer have to think twice when obtaining water, as the new water filtration system was opened for them by Gammatha and the Airline Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka.
The Gammatha team is currently here in the Nuwara district at the Silver Candy Tamil Primary School, where over 400 children are currently receiving their education. And one of the main problems that they've been facing for a long period of time is a lack of access to clean drinking water. But today, their dreams have become a reality as the Gammatha initiative has vested with them a water purification system. What you see behind me is the water purification project that was vested with these students by the Gammatha initiative just a short while ago. Not forgetting to mention that this project was made possible by the kind donation of the Sri Lanka Pilots Guild. Now today, from now on, these children will not have any problems with having access to clean drinking water. From now on, their thirst will be quenched. Yet another successful project by the Gammatha initiative, always with the people, for the people. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara, signing off from Nuwara.
Shifting attention to some international news, Twitter has told employees that the company's office buildings will be temporarily closed effective immediately. Workers were told that the offices would reopen on Monday, the 21st of November.
Hundreds of Twitter employees are estimated to be leaving the beleaguered social media company following an ultimatum from new owner Elon Musk that staffers sign up for long hours at high intensity or leave. In a poll on the workplace app Blind, which verifies employees through their work email addresses and allows them to share information anonymously, 42% of 180 people chose the answer for taking exit option, I'm free. While it is unclear how many employees have chosen to stay, the numbers highlight the reluctance of some staffers to remain at a company where Musk has hastened to fire half its employees, including top management, and is ruthlessly changing the culture to emphasize long hours and an intense pace. According to two sources, the company notified employees that it will close its offices and cut badge access until Monday. One source said security officers have begun kicking employees out of the office on Thursday evening.
Nancy Pelosi, who led Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives for almost 2 decades, has decided to step down from her role.
As we gather here, we stand on sacred ground, the chamber of the United States House of Representatives, the heart of American democracy.
The 82-year-old is the most powerful Democrat in Congress and the first woman to serve as Speaker of the House. She will continue to represent her California district in the lower chamber of Congress. It comes as Republicans are projected to take back control of the House following the midterm elections. Republican Kevin McCarthy has won the party's nomination to be Speaker in the new Congress and is likely to succeed Pelosi. Pelosi will serve as Speaker until January, when a new Congress takes over, and will remain in the seat she first took up in 1987 until January 2025. North Korea has fired a suspected intercontinental ballistic missile into sea. The ICBM was fired from near the North Korean capital, Pyongyang. Japan says the missile landed in waters to the west of an island near its northern Hokkaido island. The latest suspected intercontinental ballistic missile was believed to have landed about 200 kilometers west of an island off the large northern Japanese island of Hokkaido, inside Japan's exclusive economic zone. There were no initial reports of damage to ships or aircraft. Earlier this month, the North launched an ICBM, but it failed mid-flight. After that launch, the US and South Korea agreed to extend their joint air drills beyond their scheduled end date. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that 10 million Ukrainians are without power after a fresh wave of missile strikes by Russia. On Thursday, Russia pounded Ukraine with a fresh missile barrage, hitting more energy installations and other civilian buildings, less than 2 days after one of its heaviest bombardments yet. A gas production plant in the east and a missile factory in Dnipro were among the latest targets. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine's air defense managed to shoot down 6 cruise missiles and 5 drones. Zelensky accused Russia of destroying his people's supplies of electricity and heat. The Ukrainian leader repeated his calls for Ukraine's partners to offer full protection of Ukrainian sky, saying that to do so would encourage Russia to end the war. Moscow has looked to justify its recent strikes by accusing Kyiv of unwillingness to negotiate.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Mariam Garamjaya. Good afternoon and take care.